So, guys, let's have a conversation. Why does it feel like you can't get ahead in life? You're just doing enough to survive. Well, we're going to talk about that and much, much more. Stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, again, my name is Mr. lukebrooks. Please go ahead and subscribe. Now, with this in mind, when you subscribe to the channel, this is where you get the latest and greatest of these videos that I drop and much, much more. So make sure you do that right now. Now, I want to talk about a few things about this, like the whole thing of why does it feel like you can't get ahead in life? There's a few things, and this is really aimed between the ages of 20 to the early 40s. I'm 41, and I'm seeing everything, and I'm seeing some of the nonsense that's going on in my life. Not saying personally with me, but the people around my life. And this message is addressed for those folks out there who may be feeling a similar thing. Now, a lot of people feel like, hey, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. And I don't blame you working on 9 to 5 because it's stupid to me. You are giving about 40 years of your life to work for a company who ain't going to pay you a pension. They're not going to sit there and really give you your medical benefits that you should have. And then they want you to retire, but you don't have anything put away because we don't get taught that in school anymore. I know when I was in school, they was getting rid of showing people how to balance the checkbook. And with that being said, God knows what's going on in the school system now. It's just like, buy now, buy those shoes over here, buy this fancy coat, all these things like here. You got to get the hottest car. For what? For what reason? To work 40 years of your life, to live off 40% of your income, and still, guess what? You're still working because you're not really retired. If you're living off 40% and you've been used to spending more than that you have, this becomes the issue. And I feel like our society has put this whole thing, you got to keep up with the Joneses just to make it, when come to find out the Joneses are broke. And it has to come to an end. You can't survive off of that. That's not healthy. That's not a healthy style. You know, when I was growing up, and maybe when my father was growing up, right? The man brought in the money. It's only one income coming in there, and that money was able to take care of the wife and the kids and be able to put the kid into school. You can't do that now. Hell, you got family members right now working 2, 3, maybe 4 jobs right now, both ends of the spectrum, just to keep up, just to have a little bit, if anything, and it's not even enough. And God forbid, we have our kids now. We have the generation behind us. That's why I say this is for the 22 that feel like they're privileged. They're entitled to these things. They don't have to work anything. You know, they don't have to do anything because daddy promised them a pipe dream. And they don't want to realize it, right? They don't want to realize that, hey, my daddy's struggling. My daddy's working on these jobs. But he told me this pipe dream when I was a little kid. I'm going to tell you something. I remember my dad told me a pipe dream. It wasn't about, you know, money or things like that. It was about a trip. He said, hey, I'm going to take you to Dollywood. And he kept saying it. He kept saying it. Or Tweetsie Railroad, I'm going to take you there. I'm going to take you there. Years went by. Years went by. And I had to realize he ain't going to take me there. He's not going to take me there. Right? And I knew that. I knew from that moment. Hey, I'm 20 some years old. He thinking, oh, he lost interest. And I brought it up to him before he passed away. Hey, I thought you were going to take me to Tweetsie Railroad. Aren't you a little bit too old for that? So I knew that was happening. These guys have to wake up. I'm going to tell you, adults, right? Stop leading your kids to misfortune. If anything, tell them to cut off the social media. I think, honestly, like watching this one video talking about this is just like, people want to get instant gratification. That's what IG is about. They want to do this stuff. They see this lifestyle, but they're not really looking at what's behind getting it. Because it's not like a microwave where I can warm up my meal in 2 minutes and be hot, as if I was to put something on the stove that might take about 10 minutes. We have to get out of that mindset. Now, another thing is that we talked about the cost of living. I say, hey, you got to work. A lot of people have to work. I have people now that I know don't feel like working. They're in their 40s, right? It's not just, hey, it's just the 20s. I'm seeing this between the 20s and the 40s, and we got to get this nonsense out of here. They don't want to work. Now, you might say, Lou, I thought you said they didn't work at 9 to 5. When I say they don't want to work, they don't want to do anything. That's one thing where you say, hey, let me be a content creator. Let me write a book. Let me do something that could put money in my pocket without having to cheat my time out. working a 9 to 5, working a job I don't like, working something that does not make me happy in my life. It's just day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, right? You don't want to work at all. It's not an option. Unless you ran across the lottery or something, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work for you. So you have to be truthful with yourself. Now, I know this person personally, right? I said, dude, man, what's your problem? And you know what the problem is with most people is that they want to be a victim. They don't want to admit. And as a man, you got to get out of that victim mode. You are a man. And really, all adults, but for a man to be like, oh, this happened to me, blah, blah, this and that, you got to get out of that victim mode. That's the first thing. He wanted to be a victim. He chose not to listen to anyone. And I'm going to tell you, his family tried to step in and try to help him out. They say, hey, you come here, you can work with us. So he start staying at the house and start telling him, hey, you need to start applying for disability if you want to do disability. I want you to go ahead, start trying to get your unemployment. They walk him through the whole steps. What did he do? He chose not to do anything. He chose to be the victim. And what I mean by that, they go work, they go bust their ass every day while he sleep all day like a vampire, and they want to be up all night on Instagram, on Facebook, browsing, looking, giggling, when that's the problem. That's the problem that we get. When I was going to school, in high school, the cell phone was just now coming out where it was reasonable to have. When I had prepaid, we didn't have all the features and stuff, and it feels like now our society is just copped in it. Sometimes I'm on the phone, right? Sometimes I'm looking at opportunities most of the time. Like, hey, what can I do to really elevate myself? I just put myself away and I looked around. Everyone has their head down. Everyone. I literally saw people out here in Bahrain walking in the middle of the street, not looking at. And that's how crazy it is. And we got to snap out of it. So let's talk about another thing that people ain't talking about right now. Student loan debt, right? Millennium and Gen Z. This is the highlight right here that I want to talk to you about. We don't talk about how to grow our money. We don't talk about how to make money using assets. We only talk about, hey, I gotta go work this job. And then, hey, I got a school debt. I don't have to pay it. Now, I'm going back to my age group, right? A lot of people walking around with this damn student loan debt. That never really got resolved. It truly didn't. And now we got an administration that's about to leave office. That's going to come right back. And a lot of people are going to be hurting because this is what it is. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to school. I would not tell anyone that. What I will tell you is that you need to learn a skill that can make you money, meaning that you don't have to work for the man. You can go do your own thing. You learn, but that's not your permanent thing. In order for you to be rich, wealthy, they're not going to do that. Ask any Walmart employee of Sam Walton when he made Walmart. All right, you had employees around you, but guess who was wealthy? Him. He was right there on top. Ask Mark Zuckerberg. Ask him. I dare you. Like I said, well, I let this Facebook guy right here, he's wealthy. No, he might be having some money on you, but you're not where you want to be. And we got to get out of that mentality. Now, with these loans, this is the sad part. People are taking loans for getting degrees for something that's not going to make them anything, or even even get them a job. I've seen people do that before, and I was one of them, right? Nothing wrong with business management, but I think with business management, when I went to school, it should have been taught with entrepreneurship. It should have talked about, hey, now you know how business work. Let's talk about how you can do this as an entrepreneur, some of the things that you could do, some of the grants that you can get access to. Because we had a certification, right, at the schoolhouse, but it wasn't a degree. And it should have been, because entrepreneurs is what make the world go around. Us having a bunch of people walking around, I don't have no money, I have my money, is not the answer. And it's getting worse by the time we are in 2025. We're already here, and it's getting a lot worse. Now, a lot of folks feel like they can't get ahead because they got these damn loans. Now, they thought there was relief with the administration that's about to leave. They was like, okay, I got some relief here. But the thing is that never got resolved. Remember what happened in the Supreme Court. Now, they're about to leave, and no one's talking about it. Now you're gonna say, I want you to come back and look at this video. It's gonna come back. As soon as that administration comes in there, they're already talking about the Department of Education. They're already talking about these loans, but you don't hear it because media's making you look at other things. And that's the bad thing right there. Now, are there solutions? Yes. You can talk about debt forgiveness, right? That can happen on an extreme case. But again, I wouldn't recommend my child taking a degree. If you want to go to college, you can go to college. But now they're downgrading your degree. They're telling people they can get these jobs, they don't need a degree. Because now they can justify, why should I have to pay? You don't even have a degree, but you can work here, but you don't have the degree. And some people are falling for the bait. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to college. I got family members that are in college, but what I am telling you is that you need to be mindful of what you select or how you get it paid for. When I worked on my master's, I made sure that the military was paying for it. And I'm not playing, I'm not talking about the GIB that had another voucher in there. I wanted to make sure that this was going to be taken care of. I didn't have to worry about no loans or anything because I already had one loan and that was it. Some folks just jump in and want to be in debt. And when they came and start off in life right, and that was the whole game of life. Hey, you go to college, you got to pay the school note. Either like, okay, but you don't think about it when you're young. But when you start having stuff, you have kids, you want to get a better car, debt. You got to start off with debt before you can even see the daylight and be like, yeah, I'm debt free. I'm telling you guys, you need to get off the rat race on this. That's another thing that I do want to talk about. A lot of folks talk about the gig community. Now, I will tell you this. This is a way to get you going. Like they say, it's a gateway. This is a gateway to your success. Now, some people say, well, you're talking about DoorDash, you're talking about Turo, I'm talking about all of them, right? Because, yes, we're talking about working these multiple jobs, but if you know that you have something in plan that you need to get money for and you can't get through the bank or whatnot, this is one of the ways that you can make your money grow. You can even do freelance on Fiverr. A lot of people don't know that, but you can do that. If you got a skill, if you're good at something, whether you're good at editing, whether you're good at graphics, if you're good with thumbnails, you can make things happen. And this is truly a way to escape from the nonsense here. It's the mental health portion. The people that I've talked about in these videos, in this video in particular, are going through mental health issues because of all the stresses going on. I know friends that escape this nonsense. They went ahead and said, you know what? I'm not going to be part of this nonsense anymore. I left America. And once they left America, they look back and say, wow, I went through all that. It's like literally running from a burning house that you did not know was on fire. And looking back and seeing the foundation crumble, the roof fall apart or whatnot. Maybe it's time for people to take that reflection and step away from the scene. Because no matter how much money you make, no matter whatever people say at your job, this is good, this good benefits, you should just do the whole thing or whatnot, do your 40 years or whatnot. If your health is not there, your mental health is not there, your physical health is not going to be there. And this is when you have to take a moment and figure out, what is my escape plan? When you start working in the workforce, you have to look at that. Do you want to work for someone for the rest of your life? Do you want to have a plan where you can retire at a young age and still enjoy life? A lot of people got it misconstrued when they talk about working until they can retire versus having a plan on what their number is when it comes to retiring. If you know what that number is, it's not, hey, I gotta wait to 65, I gotta wait to I'm 70 or whatever it is. This is your number that you need to have to retire. And so let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about the social media. Again, a lot of people like short fixes. I've seen people that's even older than me go through some things in regards to social media. Yes, social media is fun. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. But it can suck you in and take your time. There's so many people walking around here telling me they don't got no damn money, right? Don't got no money, but they got time to be on social media posting bullshit. And I'll be honest with you, that's the problem that we face in our society today. It's one thing if you're posting stuff that's gonna make you money. Hey, this is a link to my book, or hey, this is a course that I'm hosting that could potentially earn you money. But when you're just posting stuff to post stuff, and it's not doing anything for you other than getting you a little short fix, it's bad. It's worse than crack, I think. Back in the day, I'm going back to what I've said, the crack epidemic in the 80s was ridiculous. You take that little rock and you go ahead and smoke that thing up, and the next thing you know, you an addict. I think this is worse because everyone can hold it on them, and it never ends. As long as you got a battery charge on that phone, you can scroll for days, scroll for days, scroll for days, and then your time will pass by. Now, am I saying social media is bad? No. Sometimes they do have messages that make sense. But you can see right now with this whole thing with TikTok being banned by the United States, possibly, a lot of people are like, hey, this is the real reason. People putting out the truth, and people are quitting at 9 to 5 because of the content that they're making and waking people up. And that's a no-no. That goes against the system. But you got a lot of folks who don't want to hear that. They just rather be in the matrix and just be there, look at the stuff, this is cool, this and that, and then wasting stuff. They know they got stuff that they got to do, but because this feels so good, this feels like, man, I'm getting a laugh, I'm getting a good, good time with this. Why should I have to do that work? And it messes with your decision-making skills. So you got to get away from that phone. If it's not making you money, get away from it. I challenge you with this. Try not to look at your phone when you first wake up in the morning. First hour. Try to not look at your phone for, until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Try not to look at your phone for one day. See what happens. So with us in the military, the phone doesn't work when you're out in the middle of the ocean. So it's kind of like, okay, your phone, you'll get that whole hit when you get close to sea or close to shore, and then everything starts downloading, right? Everyone will be out there, everyone. So it's possible to do this. Now, if you start shaking and things like that, you know you got an issue right there. And we don't want you to go through that. But that will follow us on to mental health. Your mental health is important. When you get away from all this stuff, all the stresses with work, family, school, career, whatever it may be, you have to protect your mental health at all costs. I don't care how much they're paying you. And I think with a lot of people in the age group, the 20 to the 40-year-old age group, a lot of folks are in this kind of weird place right now. Like, you got the younger generation that don't want to work, but then they got all these stresses. They worry about what Sally's going to say or what Jason's going to say about them. They worry about all the self-image and stuff. And sometimes you got to stop giving a damn about what people say, to be honest with you, because they are not putting money in your pocket. They're not allowing you to live the way you need to live, right? They're not doing all stuff. I used to be like, I used to worry about what people are going to say about me. But I was like, at the end of the day, I'm 41 years old. If they're not my mom, they're not my dad, what's it to them what I do? And I have people keep asking, hey, how's everything going? What you going to do about it? None of your damn business. And you got to be like that. A lot of people just want to be nosy. A lot of people will take your time. A lot of people sit there and give you this false impression that they're there for you when they're not there for you. So when you're going through an issue, don't sit on it. What you should do is definitely seek professional help. And I'm not being funny or anything about that. There's nothing wrong with talking to a counselor. There's nothing wrong with talking to your pastor if you believe that, right? You have to go get that help, because sometimes you may feel like you're just going through something. You know something's not right, but you don't know how to express it. And the worst thing you can do is tell a friend who's in that same shit that you're doing to go around and be like, yeah, it's normal. Go ahead and do it. It's okay. Knowing they wrong, they doing worse than you, and they tell them about it's all good. Because you got people like to look at, for example, Kanye West. Before his mama died, he was straight and narrow from what everyone's seen, right? But when his mama died and all these people start coming in, he started getting stranger and stranger and stranger. Why was that? That it's called governor on a car, right? When you're driving your vehicle and it won't allow you to drive but so fast, because the governor's in that car telling the engine you cannot go faster than this. It may say 180, but you may not even hit 180. You probably hit 160 without modifications in your vehicle. His mom was the governor. If he wanted to go crazy, she was the governor and said, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Make it make sense. And he comes back, it dials it back, right? But when his mom passed away, there was no more governor. You have people coming in, talking crazy. He having these crazy ideas. They say, yeah, this is cool, this is cool. And I'm telling you, I remember back in 2005 when he came out, 2004, 2005, okay, cool cat. But then he started getting stranger and stranger and stranger. Why is that? We have people in our circle that we don't really use critical skills when making a judgment on them. Meaning like, hey, should I really be telling about myself, or should I really be hanging out with them? And I had to learn that a long way too, right? I learned that growing up. Like, hey, be careful who you hang out with. But some people want to see you fail. Some people want to see you be destroyed. Some people want to see you go in insanity, where you're going through all this drama, all this nonsense, because they said, well, hell, this is entertaining. And we live in a petty world like that, where people rather see you suffer and laugh and joke about it, rather than say, hey, let me talk to this brother, let me talk to this sister, and see what it is that we can get them help with. I had to cut people out my life. I literally had to cut people out my life, and I did not look back. It hurt at first because, oh, I'm all alone, but these are the same people that really was not bringing any help in my life. As a matter of fact, there were people who wanted to see me fall. A lot of people who hated me. When I talked about the ideas that I had, and it's, oh, you're trying to be different, you're trying to be special, basically. They would knock you down, they'll embarrass you, and you have to cut those people out. And if you got people in your life like that, you need to cut them out, because they will make your mental health unstable. Now, the thing about this is that you need to be around the right people who are going to offer you support. And what I mean by that, I'm not sitting there saying an AA meeting, right? I'm talking about people like-minded. If you're trying to elevate, you're trying to get yourself in the right direction, where people are thinking the same way you are, meaning that you're on the same frequency, you going in the same directions. Hey, I'm trying to reach to the top. You got to roll with it. And once I did this process with my own self, cut people out that really wasn't helping, people just want to be nosy, people want to go back and talk to the people you don't want to talk to, mess with, you don't roll with. I cut those people completely out of my life. I ran across the people that were there for me. People who are talking about moving in the right direction. People who went all about, hey, I got to get in the club every time. I got to go get drunk all the time. I got to go smoke all the time. I got to do all these things. Once you're around the right people who are talking about going in a direction, they're not trying to do this nonsense that's going on with the majority of this world, you're going to start seeing changes in your life. Because again, if you're working with the same group of people that are going in the same direction, you're going to start gravitating off of one another. You're going to really start feeling each other's energy. And I'm not being funny about that, but I'm being truthful that you want to be around people who have purpose in their life and really want to go in a better direction than what they had before. Every day you should be looking to strive to be better than what you were yesterday. And this leads into the final part here. You got to find purpose in your life. A lot of people in this 20 to 40 age group that can't get ahead, it's because they don't have a purpose. It's just like if you was to go to the gym. You go into the gym for what? Is it to lose weight? Is it to look better? Is it just to help with your mental health? You have a purpose. So if you say, I want to do my New Year's resolution, I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, it's not going to happen you just talking. You should be making a definite determination on what you want, because it goes beyond wealth. It goes beyond materialism. At the end of the day, a lot of folks are walking around and they don't know what the hell's going on outside that window. They just know, I'm just going to go to work, do 12, 14 hours of my day, come home, watch TV for the most of it, and go to sleep and start over again. That's fucking crazy. And you got to have purpose in your life to make sure that what you see, what you dream of, what you want to do, go for it. Don't let no one tell you it's not possible. I asked a person that question a long time ago. I said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And or adult. He said, I stopped dreaming. I stopped dreaming. I think this is life. I go to work, I suffer. I go to work, I suffer, and then I die. And it's like, it can't be like that. It can. I refuse to believe that. I believe if you want something, you go after it. You put your heart behind it. You put your energy behind it. You go through it. Now, are there going to be days that you're going to have ups and downs? Yeah, it's going to happen. That's part of life. Anything worth fighting for, it's going to be some struggle to it. And if you're not afraid of having struggle in your life, you can have anything that you put your mind to, guys. So again, This concludes what we talked about in regards to getting ahead in life. Why can't you get ahead? Why it feels like a struggle. Look at some of the things I talked about. Think about what's going on in your life. See if there's anything that you can change, whether it's something small or something large, and take a challenge for yourself. I can't guard your challenge, right? I can't sit there and monitor, hey, what you're doing over here, but go after what you want and challenge yourself. Be the police of yourself. If that means you got to cut people out your life, cut people out of life. If you want to really cut that job out your life, cut that job out your life, but have a plan. Just don't sit there, I quit. Woo! Don't do that. But you want to be able to say, you know what, at the end of the day, I am happy with what I did and I went forward. But definitely have a purpose. All else false, have purpose. Protect your mental health. Don't allow people to kill your dreams, and succeed at all costs. And when I mean all costs, that means you got to stop going to the club, if that means you got to cut off the TV, if that means you got to put the cell phone down, that's cost right there. So go for it, guys. Again, if you like what I talked about, make sure you subscribe. Again, guys, my name is Mr. 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿. Throw those likes up, do the subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Take care.